Please don't forget subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to get notified of new daily videos.
I'm Myra, and for years, I'd poured my soul into becoming one of the best 3D architectural visualizers in the business. My biggest break came with the Horizon Bay Resort project, a sprawling, multi-million-dollar development that promised to launch my career into the stratosphere. The work was demanding, requiring intense focus and vast rendering power from our internal farm, usually during specific, uninterrupted blocks I meticulously scheduled. Enter Roman. He was nominally a project lead, but his real talent lay in office politics and self-promotion, rather than actual technical skill. Roman saw the Horizon Bay project as his ticket to the executive suite, even though most of the actual technical heavy lifting, especially the visuals, fell to me. He quickly started a pattern of scheduling urgent syncs and collaborative brainstorms right in the middle of my most critical rendering blocks. These weren't quick chats. They were drawn-out, pointless affairs that forced me to kill active renders, costing me hours and sometimes a full day of rework. When I pushed back, gently reminding him of my schedule and the project's tight deadlines, Roman would just smile condescendingly and say, "Myra, for a project of this scale, we all have to make sacrifices. The client needs flexibility." He must have thought he was clever, subtly undermining my progress, making me look slow, or perhaps hoping I'd share some brilliant insights he could co-opt. But with each forced interruption, with every re-render, his patronizing words echoed in my head, and a slow burn of resentment turned into a cold, calculated fury. My reputation, my future, were on the line because of his ego. I realized Roman wasn't just disrupting me, he was desperate. He was struggling with his own financial modeling and strategic analysis for the crucial next phase of investor funding. The Horizon Bay project was massive, and securing that next round depended heavily on a flawless presentation to a group of high-net-worth, easily agitated investors. His presentation was his make-or-break moment, and that's when my plan solidified. My revenge wouldn't be about just making him uncomfortable. It would be about making him sacrifice everything. I learned the exact date and time of his investor presentation. It was scheduled for Conference Room Alpha, a glass-walled chamber right next to the main server room, where our powerful render farm hummed day and night. The servers were notorious for their noise and heat when pushed to their limits, and the room shared a thin wall and even a vent system with Alpha. Furthermore, our office network infrastructure was robust, but finite. A massive, sustained data load could bottleneck it. I spent weeks preparing. I designed a hyper-complex, physics-heavy render job. It involved incredibly detailed water simulations for the resort's future lagoons and a series of particle effects for a proposed interactive volcanic feature, tasks that would normally be distributed over days and batched overnight. This render job, however, was meticulously crafted to push every single core of every available render node to 100% capacity simultaneously. It would generate maximum heat, maximum fan noise, and saturate the network with an unprecedented torrent of data traffic. It was technically legitimate work for the project's next phase, just incredibly ill-timed. The day of Roman's presentation arrived. I woke up with a quiet sense of anticipation. Roman, oblivious, strutted into the office looking smug, ready for his big moment. I, on the other hand, arrived early, triple-checking my render job's parameters. At exactly 1:45 p.m., 15 minutes before his investor presentation was due to begin in Conference Room Alpha, I hit go on the master render node. The command propagated through the network, awakening hundreds of processing cores in the adjacent server room. My local workstation, the master node, also roared to life, its fans spooling up to jet engine levels in my office nearby. I waited. 5 minutes later, I heard the faint, distant hum from the server room begin to build. 10 minutes later, as the investors would have been settling into alpha, that hum would have grown into a discernible drone. At 2 p.m., precisely as Roman was meant to be kicking off his pitch, I imagined the scene unfolding next door. I could almost hear it, the initial polite greetings, the confident smile on Roman's face. Then the subtle flickering of the recessed lights in alpha as the render farm drew immense, sustained power. The low drone from the server room would be escalating, transforming into a relentless, high-pitched roar as hundreds of CPUs and GPUs thrashed, pumping out heat and fan noise. I picture Roman, mid-sentence, perhaps trying to stream a seamless video walkthrough of his financial projections. But the network, utterly saturated by my critical render traffic, would choke. His video would buffer, pixelate, and then freeze solid. His elaborate financial dashboards, meant to update live from a secure cloud, would display nothing but connecting, or error 404. He'd try to troubleshoot, to shout over the escalating din, his face surely turning a furious beet red. The investors, seasoned and notoriously impatient, would be exchanging annoyed glances, their attention shattered by the technical meltdown and the deafening symphony of overworked fans next door. The fallout was swift and spectacular. Roman's investor presentation was a complete, unmitigated disaster. He never got past the first few slides. The technical glitches, the incessant noise, and his visible fluster left the investors with an impression of total incompetence. They didn't just walk away, they nearly ran. Bradley, my boss, found me in my office a little while later looking grim. "Myra, what in the world was that noise? And the network just died during Roman's presentation." I just looked at him, wide-eyed and innocent. "Oh, that's the Phase 2 lagoon and volcanic simulation renders. Absolutely critical, Bradley. Couldn't possibly delay it. You know, for a project of this scale, sometimes we all have to make sacrifices for the client, right?" I even managed a sincere-sounding sigh. Roman, stripped of his project lead role, was relegated to a data entry position for a smaller, less important client. His reputation was in tatters, and a few weeks later, he left the company to pursue other opportunities, which everyone knew was corporate speak for fired. Me, I was offered Roman's old project lead role, along with a significant bonus, and the Horizon Bay project continued, albeit with a new understanding that my rendering time was sacrosanct. The satisfaction was deep, earned, and utterly delicious. He sacrificed everything, just as he'd wanted me to. Turns out, sometimes the best revenge is simply letting someone reap what they've sown, just with a little strategic timing. He thought he could break my stride, but all he did was pave my way to the top.
If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button to like it. And please do subscribe to support the channel.